This famine.
Welcome to The Unusual Suspects, episode 177, the final episode of The Unusual
Rob, you
Suspects.
freaked everybody out last week with that. They're not canceling us.
Good. And yes, it is the final episode, so make sure you get upset and comment in the chat as to how much you love the show and you wish it'd stay around. That's part of the mystique about what we do here. We cover controversial topics, conspiratorial topics, and sometimes some bullshit. We have a ton of great topics for you today. We are joined by the host of the Daily Dose of Wisdom YouTube channel. It has a good amount of followers, 1.06 million subscribers. So if you're on YouTube, go subscribe, follow, like, and watch his content, The Daily Dose of Wisdom. The host of that channel, Brandon McGuire, joining us for the first time. Welcome, Brandon. Thank you.
Very happy to be here. Very happy.
And we have a ton of great stories for you today, including, is Tim Pool the right white Jussie Smollett? There are conflicting reports of a shooting that took place at the Tim Pool compound in West Virginia. We will dive into that. According to the New York Post, Nick Fuentes, is his influence online real or is it fabricated? There seems to be some bot farming going on in the Groyper army. We will discuss that as well. Joe Rogan says that Jesus may return, but if Jesus does, it'll be artificial intelligence. And finally, according to a Portland jury, you can stab someone in self-defense if they're using a racial slur. We will break those topics down and more. If you have not already done so, make sure you like and subscribe to the Unusual Suspects channel. That way you can get notified every time we go live, every Tuesday at 6 p.m., unless for some reason we do a Thursday episode in the middle of the week like we did last week. But make sure you like and subscribe. That way every time we do one of those Thursday episodes and you're not ready to watch, you will be ready to watch because you will get notified. Let's jump right into it because we have a short show for you today and a lot to cover in that time. The first story is the shooting at the Tim Pool compound. It happened on December 5th. It was posted on X by Tim Pool that a vehicle pulled up to his Harper Ferry, West Virginia home and opened fire. He says nobody was injured during the shooting, explaining that his security gate and armed guards may have deterred anything worse from happening, and now his security team is working with law enforcement. But here's the problem. According to local law enforcement, local police agencies say the shooting did not occur in their jurisdiction. The state police and the sheriff's office also have no information regarding the shooting as of this morning. So right now, as of today, there is no official confirmation that this shooting took place. The alleged attack came amid a broader wave of politically charged violence with supporters like Megyn Kelly and Marjorie Taylor Greene these people also are getting death threats. There was a report yesterday that there was a man that was indicted in a Tampa, Florida courtroom for stalking many different right-wing influencers, if you want to call them that, including Benny Johnson.
I believe this same guy was also at Matt Walsh's house trying to find him and his kids. I don't remember if this is the same guy that tried to go after Cat Turd out in Texas, but someone recently showed up at his ranch as well.
And this all comes on the wake of, obviously, the September 10th execution of Charlie Kirk when he was shot at the UVU campus. But as of right now, as we stand today, there has been no official report from any government agency, much like what with Candace Owens. Candace Owens was claiming that the French Foreign Legion was going to assassinate her, that there was a hit out on her. She said she turned that evidence over to the federal government, but then you watch Megyn Kelly interview Kash Patel last week, and Kash Patel didn't confirm that an investigation was ongoing and even confirmed that the investigation into Charlie Kirk's shooting is being handled by local police, the state police in Utah, as opposed to the FBI. If there was any type of foreign government involved in the execution of Charlie Kirk, if there was any foreign government involved in an assassination attempt on Candace Owens, the FBI would be investigating those things, not local agencies, and Kash Patel declined to comment on either one. So you could read into that and go the declining of any type of commentary on those topics. Maybe he can't confirm that there's an investigation ongoing because he can't speak about an ongoing investigation, or there's no investigations at all. But when it comes to Tim Pool, here's the tweet. Last night, a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. Now, the reason that I saw people thinking that this shooting was made up was because Tim Pool 2 days before was talking about how he's not winning over any friends. He's losing followers. He's losing subscribers. He's losing views by going after Candace Owens over Candace Owens' claims, and this is Tim Pool's words, that TPUSA and Erica Kirk were involved or had foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So the topic for you guys, A, do you give any credence to this tweet? Do you believe that a shooting took place at the Tim Pool compound, or is he the new Jussie Smollett?
I did some research last night, and I want to be very specific with this because it's a big claim, and then, this is what, okay, you have a Harper's Ferry Police Department. They confirmed that the incident was outside of the jurisdiction, and then they referred people to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, all right? Then the West Virginia State Police said they had no information, all right? Then they reached out to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, and they were unreachable. That means, it doesn't mean that they don't have a report. It means that they didn't comment on the subject matter. And then some, media outlets, they said they don't have no arrests, no suspects, no ballistic evidence, or neighbor corroboration. So that's what we know so far. I don't know how this works, but that's what we don't know anything. There's no official report so far.
I saw, Connor, I don't know if you saw this as well, but online, apparently they were recording some type of content when the shooting took place, but said that they don't archive their content.
So I believe what that is I forget where it is, if it's on YouTube, Rumble, or their own website. Tim Pool live streams his chickens on the compound. I think he calls it Chicken Town or Chicken City. So the live stream on the property would have captured the sound of the gunshots, is what he was saying. But because it's a live stream, it's not archived footage.
So can't people just
But if someone else can pull it up, he was saying, like, we don't keep the archives of that recording, but someone else, if they have it archived, could go back and potentially find where the shots were. So there might be evidence. He said they have video footage of it, but he's not releasing that to the public because he doesn't want to make it clear where the cameras on the property are. So what it sounds like is, because it's a big gated compound, somebody pulled up to the gate or the wall or something and shot towards the buildings inside and then ran off. They said about 3 shots were fired.
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I think it is a very specific claim to be lying whole cloth about. I think that the cons of lying about it are going to way outbalance the pros of being a martyr or a potential martyr. I think it's a different type of claim fundamentally than even Candace Owens saying something like, out there's this French intelligence and it's sort of abstract and they're kind of out to get me and I promise, right? Like that's a different type of claim. There was somebody, a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. Like that's the type of thing you can easily corroborate. If it did happen, I think there's gonna be some secondary lines of evidence that are gonna show that it's true.
At this day and age, with everything being recorded at all times, we sit here and we talk about on this podcast the surveillance state that we find ourselves living in. Everything is recorded at all times. Your phone is monitoring you. When you walk up to your home, your Ring doorbell camera is seeing you. When you walk inside, your Alexa inside is constantly monitoring you. You get in your smart car, which also has a microphone and camera inside that watches you. We are constantly surveilled. So to make this claim in this day and age with it actually not happening isn't feasible to me, especially thinking of how smart Tim Pool is, how he knows about, first of all, he doesn't need to make up, in my opinion, Tim Pool doesn't need to make up shit for content to get views. Tim Pool gets views with his opinions. So I don't think anybody's going to go, oh, wait, there's reports that Tim Pool was shot at. Let me tune in. It's not going to gain him any viewers. In my opinion, lying about this would only hurt him. So I don't see the upside of making this story up.
I agree, and I'm going to give him some grace. The thing is, if you know where the compound is, I'm not going to dox him, but it's in the middle of nowhere, all right? It's not like he has neighbors or anything, so there will be less surveillance there, and finding evidence will be harder, because this is literally, if you ask any guest that's been there, it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. But the thing is, I think you're wrong about his opinions getting him views. What I really liked about Tim Pool, I still like him, I think he's a smart dude, is that he was a great platform, a centered platform to have anyone there. You can have someone from the far right, from the far left, and he was a very good moderator. When he started stepping into the opinion turf, that's when things started going south. That's my opinion on it.
When did he make that shift, though? Because his channel's still relatively large. How many followers does he have right now? Tim Pool.
I'm not saying he's doing bad, but that's why I stopped watching.
His channel has 1.47 million subscribers, and that's just the Tim Pool channel. The Tim Cast channel,
Tim Cast IRL.
that one has 2.58 million subs. So you're talking about around 4 million subscribers overall. I just don't see the point in trying to lie about something like that in this day and age. It doesn't make sense. You can't get away with it. We proved that with Jussie Smollett. And even that was supposed to happen in the middle of the night in downtown Chicago.
Even beyond that,
snowstorm.
If he's lying, like Brandon said a second ago, it's different than Candace making a claim about the French Foreign Legion trying to assassinate her, because she says there's an abstract plan in place to kill me. She doesn't provide any evidence. We've talked about that at length in a different episode. She sent that to the FBI by texting a contact she has. She did not follow up with official channels. She said she never heard back. Kash Patel was talking to Megyn Kelly and said he could not confirm or deny an ongoing investigation, but they take threats against American citizens seriously.
Can you pull that clip up if you get a second?
I have it, yeah.
Because there's a point where when they're discussing that in there, she says, so as of now, there's been no credible reports. And it sounds like, go ahead and play it. Yeah. I'll show you what I mean.
Start with this, the most obvious. Do you believe that we have the proper suspect in custody? Do you believe that Tyler Robinson is, in fact, the man who killed Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
Quick answer.
Do you believe he acted with the help of anyone else?
This investigation is being led by the Utah state authorities because it is a murder investigation. So the FBI is a supporting role in the investigative process. And so what we're doing is the same thing we did in the pipe bomb investigation. The investigation is ongoing for us. If there's any new leads or tips, we are exhausting them with search warrants and legal process. But at the same time, we are working with the prosecutors in Utah to make sure we don't screw up their investigation. Because again, the worst outcome would be if the guy that killed Charlie Kirk walks out of a United States courtroom in the state of Utah. And so it's a delicate balance again, but there is no way this FBI is going to stop that investigation until it reaches its all-conclusive endpoint.
Do you believe any foreign government had a role in his assassination?
At this time, the FBI doesn't have credible information to connect any foreign governments to it. But as I said, we are continuing to take investigative leads. We're not done. Just because we arrest someone, just like in the pipe bomber case, we don't just say, okay, we're done, on to the next. The investigative team continues to work with the Utah authorities, and they're deriving their own leads and coming back to us and say, hey, can you look at this piece of information? Can we get a search warrant on this account? What about this individual who is located in X, Y, or Z? We're tracking all that down.
Do you have any credible reason to believe that anyone connected with the Turning Point organization had anything to do with Charlie's death?
Zero.
On the subject, there's been an allegation made by prominent podcaster Candace Owens that she's received a death threat, a credible death threat from the French, that a threat has been made on her life, and that the French, she's been told, also may have had a role in Charlie's assassination. Have you looked into either of those? Do you believe she's received a credible death threat from the French, or that the French had something potentially to do with Charlie's death?
Any American that receives a death threat from overseas or anywhere in America is going to be fully investigated. So we're not going to turn our eye away from that investigation or any others. If there's anything to it, this FBI will respond to it.
Yeah, so we can.
Sorry. So we are just looking at everything that comes in. We're not going to reject any piece of information. If someone feels that their life is being threatened, we are, of course, looking at it.
So cut it right there.
Yeah.
So when she says, so no further investigations, he starts saying so and then switches. What I thought that where he was going was confirming that, no, there is not an investigation into any foreign assassination plots against Candace Owens. He did not say that, but he really, I mean, we just watched 2 minutes of him dodging every question Megyn Kelly asked. And quite frankly, this is the problem, is that not enough women are watching Megyn Kelly. Instead, and my wife's one of them, stop watching Candace Owens. It is not a political show. It is a true crime mystery show. It's for entertainment purposes, not education purposes.
It's a fiction podcast.
If you want to learn about policy, if you give a shit about the future of the country, we should. And Tim Pool, this is why I wanted to bring this up. Tim Pool has been going after Candace Owens so hard about you are dividing the right and we are losing sight of what matters. And what matters right now is the 2026 midterms. And that's why I blame women right now for watching Candace Owens instead of Megyn Kelly. You should be learning about policy, learning about the 2026 midterms, learning about what's going to happen to this country if the Republicans lose the House. Instead, you guys are learning about whether or not Brigitte Macron has a dick, whether or not Justin Baldoni was rude or got yelled at or argued with Ryan Reynolds. You guys are too busy worrying about if Erica Kirk worked with Turning Point USA to assassinate Charlie Kirk. Instead of giving a shit about what actually matters, which is the future of this country, stop watching Candace Owens and watch Megyn Kelly. There is not a single woman out there that I think influences young women right now like Candace Owens. And what is she educating them on? Theories, hypotheses, bullshit.
Her dreams.
Whereas Megyn Kelly is actually informing young women and no one is watching it. This is when you watch Tim Pool. Is this the Tim Pool clip where he goes off? The guy is 100% accurate on this. Whether or not you believe Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk, whether or not you believe Justin Baldoni was rude to Blake Lively, whether or not you believe Brigitte Macron had a dick, this is what is important and this is what you should be focusing on.
Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag.
Well,
she is a degenerate cunt.
Energy.
She is burning everything down. And she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you cower, as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy, and she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property, and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who trying to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And you know, it's all lies. It's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again, this conservative movement is fractured, it's fried, whatever it is, okay? Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending in the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered. Yeah. And this is the point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history. And thanks to the likes of the vile cunt Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on. Such fucking pathetic bullshit. You know, and I get people saying, Tim, you know, thank you so much for talking about it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Quickly, Candace responded to that. She tweeted that video and said, he is genuinely not well right now. I wouldn't turn this into a cheap internet moment. There is just so clearly something personal going on in his life. It's hard to run a business and he's under pressure. Pray he comes through it. It is interesting that Tim Pool was not invited to the Turning Point. I'm assuming he's mentioning Freedom Fest or the AmFest that they do every year. Tim Pool was not invited to that until he started speaking out about Candace Owens, at which point then Turning Point decided to reach out and invite him. That's interesting to me.
Well, you could try to make something of that. I haven't seen anything about that beyond what he just said in that clip. Turning Point continues to invite Tucker to stuff. Tucker speaks highly of Candace Owens. They're friends. And I think it's also worth noting that despite the fact that Candace claims the French Foreign Legion is trying to assassinate her, she was just at Tucker's Christmas party last week with no security. The week, like days after she made the claim about the assassination attempt, she went to Dollywood. Which,
now,
you know, Dolly Parton can stop assassins, apparently.
Has anybody actually confirmed any of that? Because I've seen the photos from the Christmas party. I've heard nothing about Dollywood. So I don't know, like, it's easy to say she was at Dollywood. Present any evidence that shows that she was at Dollywood.
Yeah, apparently she posted pictures or something. I'm not.
The problem is when it comes to this internet clashes, and then I'll go to Humberto and Brandon will give you the last words before we move on to the next topic. The biggest problem when it comes to these online culture wars is that there's no such thing as two things existing at once. I can like Candace Owens as a commentator. I can also find what she's doing in the Charlie Kirk assassination theory attempt and investigation a little off-putting. I can say, hey, it's weird that Turning Point issues an invitation to her at 1:24 in the morning and then says you have to respond by end of day or you're not going to be invited to come on the podcast. And then I can also look at her response saying, hey, any place, anywhere, anytime, and turning that down and calling out both sides. But for some reason, the people that view this content's like, no, you're either pro-Candace and you believe in everything Candace Owens says, or you're pro-Turning Point USA and you're anti-Candace. It's like, hey, can't there be some type of overlay between the two? Humberto, your thoughts on Tim Pool, Candace Owens, the entire right being divided by the death of Charlie Kirk and the coverage of it, and then we'll go to Brandon for final commentary.
I want to talk about the midterms. You know what I mean? This is not a good look, but at the same time, I'm vaccinated against this. Like, they've been ruining politics, women in general. I'm sorry, I love you, everyone. But they've been ruining politics for years, Rob. Like, right now, they're listening to Candace Owens, and they're splitting the right in half. But before that, they were listening to Oprah Winfrey and voting for the left. So, like, they pre-ruin the politics, or they ruin it when they're in it. So, like, I have nothing to say. I think this whole thing is just beyond stupid. Like, I can't even, like, it doesn't register with me, like, the level of divide that we're having over, like, one of the saddest things.
Would you be in favor of abolishing the 19th Amendment to the Constitution?
I defer to Connor for that answer.
So you won't even answer. The 19th Amendment is the one that gave women the right to vote in the country, and the way that you were just speaking about women, it makes it seem like you would be in favor of not allowing them to vote.
No, I'm in favor of them to participate in democracy because that's a God-given right. But I think your piece of advice is very sound for them to start listening to Megyn Kelly and less of because she's serious. Like, she's a serious reporter, you know. And Ingram doesn't get enough credit. She's a queen of Fox News, and she's doing tremendous work. We've seen a lot of her.
Maria Bartiromo as well, but none of these people are covering the sensational topics that get the views. Therefore, they're relegated to the old media, mainstream media.
But all I'm saying that this circus will have very serious consequences. If you can imagine that they lose the House and they lose the Senate, we're going to have a lame duck president for 2 years. And he has a big agenda. Like, the mandate is huge. Imagine not having the Congress and the Senate on your side. These are very dangerous territories. And I think the ship has sailed. Like, I don't think there's going to be, there's nothing we can do about it.
You don't have to imagine what that would be like. That was 2018 to 2020.
So, everyone needs to...
And then how did that end in 2020? 4 years of Biden, which instead of getting 4 years of J.D. Vance, which is what we were looking at the end of this administration, now you're looking at it being a toss-up.
And then on their character, I met Candace 2 or 3 times when she's a lovely lady. I love her and her husband. They're wonderful people. And Tim also, when he came here, he was the coolest, raddest dude. I'm in contact with some of his crew. They're super chill. He's trying to do his part. So, like, it also makes me very sad that to see 2 people that I really like to go at it like this, and that guy Milo
Yiannopoulos,
also, like, just like pouring poison on top of
that guy's a piece of shit. For anybody to go on and make unfounded claims that Charlie Kirk was gay and was about to divorce his wife after the guy's dead and can no longer defend himself, you're a coward, you're a pussy, you are everything that the internet says that you are. You've proven it with that one comment. Brandon, you're a content creator, the host of Daily Dose of Wisdom. You should go and subscribe to his channel. What is your input when it comes to this entire infighting that's going on in the culture war versus the right and content creators just battling it out online?
Yeah, a couple quick thoughts. One is, I think that we should all be analyzing the reasons why Candace is so effective right now. What is the background information that everyone's feeling? What is the psychological state that we're all in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk that has primed us as a culture to be able to receive a narrative like the one that she's giving? Does this have something to do with our distrust in institutions, with all the stuff that we went through in 2020? What is the background information that's making her so effective? I think is an important question to ask. Then, second, she's clearly a very effective communicator, and I think that we should grant her that. But I think, frankly, raging against her, calling her names, all these things in a kind of unhinged way, I don't blame him for doing that. Obviously, he's feeling a certain way about it. I'm not convinced that that is an effective way of helping people see where she's telling the truth and where she's making stuff up. Because I think what we need to do more so is really get analytical and say, Where are your receipts, Candace? Show. Like, you're allowed to present things like a detective drama as long as it's truthful, as long as it's evidence-based. Go ahead, tell us a good story, communicate to us in an effective way. You can even say, no, here's my opinion, but we need to be, I think, focusing in on saying, here is what is evidence-based, and here's where she's creating this gray area, and here comes the power of suggestion. Here's what's true, and here's the power of suggestion. And we need to sit there and hold her feet to the fire at every single point to say, that's not evidence-based. That's the power of suggestion. And not let her get away with that, because she blends it all together in this cocktail of a presentation of information that is apparently really, really effective at getting people to agree with her perspective.
And it's not, I blame women. It's not just women. There's a large amount of viewers that also watch Candace's content that are men. I just don't happen to know of any of them. I see them online yelling at me, but I don't know anyone. Has anybody here consumed Candace's content?
I watched Candace last night.
But how often do you do that? You're doing that now because we're covering the story, and but how often is that part of your regular viewing habits?
I mean, I love the Macron, narrative. I didn't miss any of those, but I've been watching it more now that we're covering it.
Connor?
Yeah, and that's an accusation we get hit with all the time of like, you guys are just watching the clips. We're not. Rob is open about the fact he doesn't watch Candace Owens. He doesn't care.
Oh.
Rob is up to speed on what we talk about. I go watch full episodes before I pull clips from these things. I read everything she posts on social media. I'm trying to get a project up and running of where I will watch every video that Candace Owens has posted since Charlie Kirk died and sit down with receipts to tell you exact dates and timestamps of where she said everything we've said she said.
Like Israel killed Charlie Kirk, Egypt killed Charlie Kirk, France tried to kill Charlie Kirk, TPUSA may have killed Charlie Kirk, the Trump administration may have killed Charlie Kirk, and then today it was the Pentagon may have killed Charlie Kirk.
So if you want to know and you're interested in that kind of project, let us know in the comments and we'll see what we can do to make that happen, because I'd be interested in doing that. But we consume her stuff. I've watched her show. I watched Becoming Brigitte. I've checked out various other episodes she's done, but really that women audience she got was with the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing. She was the #1 source of the drama for that. Her audience exploded with women, and now no one has any sort of critical lens on it. So it's not just a women problem, but I agree with Brandon. The harder you hit Candace, the more attention she gets. She's the one primarily profiting off the death of Charlie Kirk by getting like 20 million views on her videos that she's done about Charlie since. So it's time for some analytical takedowns, and everyone who's got receipts, bring them to the table. Let's put up what we got and see what we can find.
I love that. And speaking of analytical takedowns, let's switch topics. We have limited time today, so I want to jump right into the story that broke this morning on the New York Post, because this is a guy that we've met. He has been on the PBD podcast. He has been here taking photos with our crew. Seemed like a very nice guy, but currently being accused of being a fed by Elon Musk and a large amount. Well, actually, it's not a large amount. I've actually seen Elon be getting ratioed on his own tweets, on his own platform, when he calls Nick a fed. But
that might be part of the problem.
Yes, that's a point. Are those ratios real? According to the New York Post, there was an article right here that came out this morning. Nick Fuentes, or was that last night? I'm sorry, late last night. Nick Fuentes may be racist, but relies on Nigeria and India to fuel his popularity online. According to a fresh report from Network Contagion Research Institute, they claim that much of Fuentes' online fame is manufactured. So is the Groyper Nation real, or are the Groyper Nation bots? That's the question. According to the report, a significant portion of early engagement on Nick's posts come from foreign bot farms, mainly based in Nigeria, India, Pakistan, and elsewhere. Through his X account, although his X account is only about 1.1 million followers, the algorithms, he has been on my feed every single day. And I don't dislike Nick Fuentes. I don't co-sign with some of the language that he may use. I don't agree with every one of his viewpoints, but much like Candace Owens, like you spoke about just a few minutes ago, a very effective communicator. He is really good at what he does. I've been in broadcasting since I was 17 years old, so we're going on 22 years old, or 22 years. This guy is way more of an effective broadcaster than I ever have been and ever will be, and he's done it in 1/10 of the time. I watch what this guy does, and I have nothing but respect for his following and what he does online. But is that following real? According to the research, the actual support that he is getting online isn't organic growth. It's more of a coordinated effort to distort perception and give Fuentes outsized influence. Some experts warn this mirrors classic foreign interference tactics, weaponizing fringe voices, which he is, to destabilize mainstream politics. I know that there was a chart. Were you able to grab the chart that was out there? There it is. Is there any way we can punch in on that, or could you read that? Because I can't see it from here.
This is part of it, but one of the things I wanted to highlight with this photo is that here is Elon Musk once again calling him a Fed, and then Nick saying, I've testified to Congress under oath that I've never spoken to or cooperated with federal law enforcement. If you or Candace Owens have any proof otherwise, then you should call your friend the president and get me charged for perjury. But this also does show some of the charts that were available in that report from the Network Contagion Research Institute, or NCRI, which how many retweets he gets and how fast he does it in, comparing Nick Fuentes, which is the red column, to other major accounts, including Elon Musk, Hassan Piker, Ian Carroll, and Destiny. So you see his immediate engagement after he posts is way higher, which suggests that there are accounts primed to interact with his content, according to this report anyway.
And I've never seen our chat explodes with, when we talk about Candace, it explodes with Candace people and supporters. When we talk about Nick Fuentes, even when we don't talk about Nick Fuentes, the groypers, if they're even real, are flooding the chat with the frog emoji. Before we had Nick Fuentes on, bring on Nick Fuentes, bring on Nick Fuentes, frog emoji, frog emoji, frog emoji. You won't bring on Nick Fuentes, you're scared. Then we had Netanyahu on. Then it really amplified for like a week. And we did that knowing that we had Nick Fuentes coming on 3 weeks later. And then all of a sudden, if they were real, the groyper army got on our side, or the bots that are running them. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't even know how bot farming works. I'm not even in touch with any of this. Are any of you, I mean, you have a channel with 1.06 million subscribers. Are you aware of bot farming? Have you ever seen this happen in your content creation journey?
I mean, I've never done it, but I know that it is a thing. But I look at this graph and I question, in other words, if we're saying he's popping up on your feed because of this, meaning this is an effective strategy to grow and gain attention, I would just wonder, why are other people not doing it? And if the answer to that is anything other than, well, you just pay cash for it and you get it, then it's like, what is the infrastructure? What is the system? What are the connections sort of behind him that allow him to have access to that growth and attention and everything else that everybody else desires and wants? What competitive advantage does he have? What is he accessing that other people aren't? I think if that's true, there's I think a bigger question behind that, to use Candace's power of suggestion.
So I'll ask the question, is Nick Fuentes a Fed at the end of this? But before we get to that point, Humberto, you know YouTube in and out. You've been utilizing YouTube since its beginning. I don't know anybody who has a better understanding of algorithms and the way that platform works than you. What is your experience with bot farming bots? Do you believe that Nick Fuentes has a bot army instead of a groyper army?
Have you guys had In and Out before?
Yes.
All right. Okay. People say it's overhyped, but then you go have it and it's delicious. It's tremendous. Two things can be true at the same time. Like someone I know very closely used to run this campaign sometime in the past, somewhere else. And sometimes when you find something that is good for your cause, like, for example, if I want to warn people about the dangers of anti-Red Bull, all right, and I find an anti-Red Bull advocate, without his consent, I will put money and bot farms behind him for my objective. He will never be involved in this cycle. If you try Nick's content, it's contagious. Like, sometimes I catch myself watching him. I'm like, oh my God, there's some good TV right here, all right? And you put a little money behind it, you give it a little push, it gets bigger on the algorithms. That's how the algorithms are built. Like, whatever gets people watching for the longest, it gets pushed up. Because if I push someone else that is not as electric as Nick, bot farming campaign won't work. Like, if I put me talking on the microphone, like, nobody will care. They can put as many bots as they want, it's not gonna pick up. So I think this could be a mix of both.
Here it is. Here's the tweet. And Connor, I'll go to you for your input as well. Elon Musk, he's a Fed. 3.6 thousand likes, 2,000 retweets, 3.6 thousand comments, 2,000 retweets, 17,000 likes, and it was seen 6.5 million times. And Humberto, if you could explain to the people at home that may not know what ratioing is, what is it when you get ratioed online? When you're on Twitter and somebody ratios you, what's that mean?
basically when you have more comments than like, that means getting ratioed. So the ratio of likes is lower than the ratio of comments. So they're calling you, whatever they want to call you online.
But again, this is kind of a circular argument,
Connor, your
though,
TV
right?
went out.
So here we go. I don't know if you can see this.
We can't.
in there.
Go ahead. Can you read the stats?
Yeah. So Nick's post has 4.9K retweets, 106,000 likes, my own included because it was funny, compared to Elon's 17,000 right now. And the ratio of likes to comments is what he was pushing for.
Do you find anything about Nick Fuentes' rise unorganic, manufactured?
So like Humberto, I agree that there are things about it that could be
inorganic,
a tad bit suspicious, maybe without even his knowledge. If there are people who are interested in seeing him take off, they might push one of those bot farming operations behind him without even him knowing about it. But the thing is, I know groypers in real life. I have spoken to and interacted with people who have been watching Nick since he was like 19, 20. Like since he first got started, they've been subscribed to his thing. I've been watching his show. They follow him. Some of them even are in his chat on a regular basis. There's whole group chats of people I've been around who just talk about how much they like Nick. These are all white American guys who were born and raised here. They are not Indians. They are not Nigerians. They are not bots. So there are people who organically like Nick Fuentes. His platform is growing because there is that push for the center of the conversation is not accomplishing anything. We are going to the fringes to try to find solutions. There is a place at the table for those sorts of things. But that's really my argument about Nick Fuentes has always been. I don't care about, or like only care to a certain extent about what he experienced when he was young. Like his whole interaction with the Daily Wire guys and what he used to do when he was in college and all the ways they pushed him out. Like, yeah, that's great. But at some point, you have to get past the biography and start talking about the actual ideas. So if his engagement is all Indians and Nigerians, so what? Is he wrong? If it's a bot farming operation that made him popular, that's one conversation to have. But are his ideas wrong? You have to address the substance of the argument rather than just debate the methods and the person responsible for them. Nick says a lot of insane, inflammatory things. Some of them have merit to them, some of them do not. And there's a whole room for the debate there. But discuss the substance of the ideas, not whether you think his platform is inorganic.
So it's plausible that either he could have this inorganic, I said unorganic, like an idiot, inorganic growth due to bots. If so, he may be involved in it. He may have no idea. It could be the work. Could it be the work of a foreign government working on behalf?
It could be.
That not having him be involved whatsoever, but trying to sow division within this right.
Fuentes is the real Jewish psyop.
And the other thing, it's all their own doing. Because, for example, this guy, 1 million subscriber guy, all right? He's sitting right here. I roughly know how many people are going to interact with your content at any given time because I've been doing this for 18 years. I know a YouTube influencer will get this many likes, this many comments. He will be this influential. But he doesn't have a flagship product that we know the true scope of his following, because he was banned from Twitter, he was banned from YouTube, so he was banned multiple times. So we don't know the real size of his audience. You know what I mean?
So the next question becomes, and this is something you were touching on, the funding of what it would take to, if he was behind these bot farms, where do you get the money to go and fund bot farming? Could Nick Fuentes be a Fed? Does anybody give any credence to what Elon Musk is claiming right here in this tweet on December 5th, that Nick Fuentes is a Fed? Does anybody in this room believe that he is a Fed? Like you mentioned, deplatformed, debanked, demonetized, silenced. Doesn't seem like those would be the traits of someone who is working on behalf of the federal government, unless this was some type of long thought out process where they're like, hey, we're going to demonetize you, we're going to deplatform you, it's going to suck for 2 years, but the long game, you're going to be massive when we let you back on the platform.
Or alternatively, there's something organic happening across those years, and then in such a time as this, he becomes a useful tool or pawn for a certain purpose, and all of a sudden, can you go back to, I don't know if we're able to go back to that chart, but the thing that I'm skeptical of in particular is how dramatically he's outperforming all these other people. That to me does not feel organic unless we're looking at a really narrow slice of time and we're saying like in this 1 week period right after Charlie Kirk or something like that. But if you're telling me that's like a year worth of data or something, I'm going to really question that.
So this is what the NCRI put out. And I'm not questioning their methodology. They published the whole report. We can go dissect that another time. We'll post a link in the description for anyone who wants to go read that for themselves. It's a big allegation. They have data to back it up. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But you do have to ask what the organization's deal is, why they even want to study this in the first place. Because when you look at it, this is who they're affiliated with. They're backed by United Nations, Anti-Defamation League, Open Society Foundation, and the Koch Foundation as well.
So the report that Nick Fuentes has a manufactured following online may have come from a place where they manufacture information to paint a narrative that Nick Fuentes is
and
manufactured.
Just because I found it relevant, I wouldn't necessarily dive in on this. Here's just from their Wikipedia page. The NCRI was founded in 2018 as a nonprofit organization by psychologist and neuroscientist Joel Finkelstein. So again, you see someone who, like, clearly Joel Finkelstein might have a reason to strongly dislike what Nick Fuentes has to say.
Nick Finkelstein, the author?
And I'm not saying that means there's any sort of underhanded manipulation of data, any lies being told here. For all I know, this is true. I have not dug fully into their methodology to verify it one way or the other. I'm just saying, when a report like this comes out that is like a damning indictment of a person, we are at a point where you have to question where it's coming from as well. So I think that's worth discussing.
I found Joel's LinkedIn account, Chief Science Officer, co-founder of the Network Contagion Research Institute, fellow at the Miller Institute for Secure Committees at Rutgers University. According to his About Me on his LinkedIn, I am a psychologist, neuroscientist who studies the rise of incitement and information disorder in online social platforms. I work to deliver strategic analysis and solutions that can help us advocate for even-handedness and transparency. I speak to media, policymakers, advocacy groups, and investigators to help turn tools for social science into tools for honest conversation.
No. So you can tell.
I have to say, though, I have a problem with the idea of his last name sounds Jewish, therefore he's less reliable.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go there personally.
Yeah, I'm not making the claim that he's any less reliable because of it. I'm saying that there is the connection of like Nick Fuentes does not like Jewish people, and there becomes a very clear reason why someone who is Jewish and runs an organization like this would have a reason to see Nick Fuentes as a threat. And I'm not saying he's unjustified.
And Finkelstein also has a history working with the Anti-Defamation League outside of the Network Contagion Research Institute. He actually worked with the Anti-Defamation League as a research fellow from December 2018 to October of 2020. So almost a year and a half of time spent, almost 2 years of time spent with the ADL, obviously an organization that
they have a very complicated history.
It is. It's very difficult to even describe what they do. Go ahead.
We don't even need that route. Like, you have the Global Communist Party, aka the UN. They coined the term misinformation. That doesn't really mean anything, all right? It's information we don't like, but it's being spread. So you just need to see the UN there. Like, you don't need any last names or any weird routes. Those guys, if you see what happened with the EU last week, they're trying to find Elon Musk for having an open platform.
Well, all that I'm saying is you have to be careful with that type of thinking as well, because you can fall into the trap of, because NASA lied about this particular thing, the Earth is flat. Like,
no, there's nothing good about the UN ever. Like, there's nothing good about the UN.
They can't give out any accurate information.
No accurate information.
So if they put it out, it is false.
If the UN is involved on anything, it's false or misleading. They're the biggest,
or at least to moderate on that, because of their track record with many of these key issues.
Connor,
the default position should be skepticism rather than trust.
A communist terrorist, ex-terrorist, as the head of the WHO, all right, the World Health Organization. They're against Christ. They're against everything that is family. They're against, like, they've been working on Africa for the past 30 years, and the situation keeps on getting worse. Like, they haven't done anything for this planet. It's just like a communist, Marxist organization that nobody votes for and we all pay for. And whenever I see that logo there, like, I'm immediately against
it's the same problem of institutional credibility that every other facet of society has, where when the FBI puts out a statement, you do not have to immediately assume they are lying to you, but the default position is now one of skepticism rather than one of trust. And
that's basically all that I'm saying is we should just, I want to know more about this study. I want to know across how much time did it take place. I want to understand how it was conducted in order to see if there is a sleight of hand going on. Because if there is, we should know about that. We should call that out and we should say, dude, this is like misinformation. And studies can easily be done in a way that is misleading, to be clear.
I agree, but this right here is technique. They've done it against me. Like, if you look up my name that I won't say on the show, they've done the same type of study. Like, whenever I got traction online, they did newspaper studies, articles, and everything on the rise of the right wing in somewhere that I can't name. But they do this all the time. Whenever at the faction they don't like these, they launch these fake studies. This is very like numbers. They're so easy to dress up however you want to.
I agree. I'm just saying we have to take it on a case by case basis, or else our logic becomes if they say 2 + 2 is 4, then it doesn't because they said it. And I'm saying that's a bad way of assessing what is true. We have to be skeptical, like you said, and have a default position of skepticism. But at the same time, we can't default into it must be false just because they said it.
It's very interesting. Apparently, digging into the actual report, they studied their 20 most recent tweets dating from November 6th or 7th, 2025 backwards. So this is a study based on 20 tweets in November of this year.
20 tweets?
20 tweets in November of this year.
Right,
it's not a long-term study. It's not a deep dive.
And the other thing that
the
other thing they cited is that because of X's new location feature, you can go in and see where people are posting from. So go to Nick Fuentes' Twitter account, open his followers list, and if you have a few hours to kill, go one by one, open those accounts, click in their header, and see where it says they're based. And some guy who's got days of time to kill could probably go look at that.
I'm not a big fan. Like, I love everybody, and that's why I get so aggravated. The things they've done to Africa, the things they've done to Haiti, and a bunch of people around the world in Asia and everything. That's why I mistrust it. Anyway, this looks like a headpiece, in my opinion.
I would love to keep going, but I do have to run because I have a meeting in 3 minutes from now. So as much as I've enjoyed this is an opportunity for you because the audience, we have a ton of great stories. Connor put a lot of work into today's episode. Unfortunately, we're a little short on time. We didn't get into the Joe Rogan says AI Jesus is coming. There was the Portland jury that acquitted the man of stabbing another man because he was called the N-word in response to getting stabbed. We did not touch on polymarket bets going through the roof and skyrocketing over reports that Donald Trump may or may not confirm the existence of other intelligent life in our universe. We didn't touch on the MH370 study that is ongoing. They're going and searching for the plane that disappeared 10 years ago. So for you, the audience, if you're at home and you want more of this content and you cannot wait until next Tuesday, would you like to see us do another episode of this show? Maybe a little bit longer sometime this week. Type in the comment. Maybe we can run a poll. But if you would like to see another episode of Unusual Suspects happen this week, let us know right now. Because, again, we got a packet of information to get to, and we only got to 2 of the 7 stories that we had on today's docket. So if you want more of this content, please let us know. Make sure you like and subscribe. And above all else, support the people who support this show, including our guest today, Brandon McGuire. He runs the Daily Dose of Wisdom channel. It's on YouTube. We'll include a link, if we could, Connor, in the description of today's episode. We'll also include a link right here in the chat for you to go and subscribe. Find more of Brandon's content online. There's the channel right there, Daily Dose of Wisdom. How often do you put out content on Daily Dose of Wisdom?
A couple times a week, usually.
Okay. So it's like a couple times a week wisdom as opposed to Daily Dose of Wisdom.
Exactly.
But that's too much of a title.
Daily's hard, man. Daily's hard.
And you got a kid, you got another one on the way.
I was doing shorts, so it's too tough. By the way, you're better than Nick Fuentes at this.
Oh, well, Nick Fuentes is great at broadcasting by himself. I have you guys to lean on for your insight. To you at home watching, thank you so much for joining us today on this brief edition of The Unusual Suspects. Again, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you can be notified when we're live again. Make sure you follow Connor. I know he's on X. He's also on Manect. Humberto, banned from most social media platforms, or on them?
Absolutely banned.
Banned, but he is on Manect. So if you want to connect with Humberto, go to Manect. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe. Daily Dose of Wisdom to get caught up with everything Brandon has coming your way. That is it for us today. To the crew in the back, Deli, Malik, Alejandro, Jake, Julius, Chad, everybody that makes the show happen. Thank you guys, and thank you at home for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you again maybe later this week, but definitely next Tuesday at 6 p.m. right here on The Unusual Suspects.